participants, how are you? I think all of you are well. I am also well. Today I will discuss from our SVT day 3 session on, that is listening and speaking. And listening and speaking is related with each other. So what is the objects of the at first you have to describe what is listening skill and what is speaking skill. We can say these two skills are related with each other, because when we listen something, then we speak by the answer of the question, and when we speak or say something, someone listen to it. By listening, we get some information from another person, and when we speak, we want to give them some information. That means we want to product something. So speaking is called productive skill and listening is called receptive skill. In our daily life, we often cannot separate these two skills from each other. Okay, by the end of the session, learning outcomes, our trainee teacher will be able to describe the importance of participating, listening and speaking at primary level, identify the listening and speaking activities of the EFT. This is very much important. Administer the listening and speaking activities of the EFT, grade 1 to 5. Understand and use effective techniques for teaching listening and speaking activities. These are the learning outcomes. And activity 1, warm up activities, that is Simon Say game. This game is very similar to you. Here I add many type of Simon Says activities. You can use here from here 2, 3, 4 point, and here is also a video. You also this video can help you to maintain the class or to how to conduct the game. Okay, when Simon says add, then they will do the action, and when we only uttered sit down, then they don't action. If anyone then do action, they will be omitted from the game. So this is very enjoyable and also interesting game, and by this game our trainee teachers listening and speaking skill will be developed. And activity 2, this type of activities pick up from TMT manual. Okay, TMT manual, and this is the edition. Here draw a monster. It is also very interesting. But draw a monster. Trainer will show his own monster picture. Participant will draw their own monster according to the direction of the trainer. Okay, example, your monster has 2 heads, your monster has 1 nose, your monster has 4 legs, your monster has 1 round belly, your monster has 6 legs. Now show your monster. Then our every trainee teacher or participant will draw their monster in their own poster paper or sheet of paper. Then they will show their monster, and by their monster they will show on the board. Okay, and by this type of activities, the listening and speaking skill will be developed, and also it will be very enjoyable. Activity 3, identifying the listening and speaking activities of the EFT book. In this is a group work, and we have to divide it or participant into 3 or 4 or 5 groups, and we have to supply this list: class, unit, listening activities, speaking activities, listening and speaking activities. Listening and speaking activities is combined. Sometimes we don't separate with each other. Already I have told this. And some are based on listening activities, some skills are based on speaking activities, some are combined activities. Okay, so we have to arrange the group work, and we have to supply them book and selected topic, and they will find out they will do their group work by this sheet. Okay, so after doing the group work, they will get some time. After finishing the group work, we have to I present it in a plenary session, that is the whole class work, and when one participant present his group work, other participant will feedback them, and that's this way we have to finish the group work, activity 3. Then importance of learning, importance of listening. What is the already our training teacher do some group works. Now it is time to discuss about what is the importance of listening. At first, it is easier for young children to listen to English than to read or write, because listening is the first skill. At first, when we want to learn a language, at first we have to listen. Listen is very important. So listen is very important. Then to read or write it. So it is easier for young children. Children will often understand much more than they can say or write. Yes. So this is one point. If students listen to a lot of English, they will be able to pick up more words and phrases. So as a teacher, we have to conduct our class by speaking English, because our students have no scope to listen English. Teacher is the only one resource who can speak English, and from where the students can listen English. So we have to obviously conduct the class in English. Some children learn better when they hear information rather than seeing it. It may be also very important. Then listening to a foreign language is difficult. If children listen to a lot of English, then they will get better at listening to English. So we have to set up many scope to listen English. If it helps the students with pronunciation and speaking, if students hear words, then they know how to pronounce it. Children need to hear English before they can speak it. At first you listen, then speak. At first you have to listen, then you answer. Answer means then you speak it. What is the importance of listening also? Children in Bangladesh often don't get many opportunities to listen to English outside the classroom. Don't get many opportunities. In a word, we can say there are no opportunities to learn to listen English outside the classroom. So teacher is the only source from where they want to listen English. For some children, the classroom may be the only place where they can listen to English. Already I have uttered this. Listening is one of the 4 skills of the English primary curriculum in Bangladesh. We know that we have 4 basic skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing, and listening is the most important. One of the main objectives of class 1 to 5 is for students to understand simple commands, instructions, requests in English and carry them out, and for students to understand simple English such as simple questions and statement. For this reason, we have to get more time. We have to set up more scopes to listen English to our students. Importance, and now it is time to say importance of speaking. Speaking is also important. At first we have to listen, then if we listen clearly and accurately, then I speak. Okay, so this is also another important skill. It is motivating for children to learn to say words and phrases in English. We have to motivate our students to communicate with each other in English. It may be wrong or right, that's not a matter. At first you characterized this to our students. Okay, when they can say new words or phrases, they feel that they are making progresses. Okay, they feel a confident to speak English. When you are learning something, you need to do it. So children need to practice English, speaking English, if they are going to learn to speak English. No alternative way to speak English. Only you have to practice it. And by practicing, you can obviously and accurately you can speak English. You have to believe this. And our children also, our children can be speak English if they practice it. Okay, so practice is very important here. If students have lots of opportunity to speak English in the classroom, they will develop confidence in speaking English. Young children are often very good at imitating and playing with spoken language. By practicing oral skill such as listening and speaking, teachers are working with the strength of their students. So important of speaking. Also we have some another points. Speaking is essential to help students to learn English properly. Improving their speaking will also improve their reading and writing. So reading and writing, further improvement of reading and writing, it also depends on speaking, and so help them in the exams. Also help them in the exams. The speaking parts of the lesson are often the most enjoyable part, if we enjoy it. Okay, otherwise not. They can make students feel that English is an interesting subject they want to learn. We believe that English is a so much interesting subject if we proper use of it. Okay, and if we conduct our class in English and our students also able to speak truly in English. Speaking English may be very useful in students' future lives. We can say here, we can add here, future education or higher education depends on knowing better English. So from the very beginning, from the early primary level, if students build their career with spoken English or based English, she will be do better in future. Children in Bangladesh often don't get many opportunities to speak English outside the classroom. This is very real situation. For some children, the classroom may be the only place where they can speak English, and outside the classroom they have no scope to listen English because their parents doesn't know how to write and how to read, and they may be also illiterate. Okay, speaking is one of the 4 skills of the English primary curriculum in Bangladesh. One of the major objects of classes grade 1 to 5 is for students to speak English in a number of situations. So what are the possibilities? What are the possible activities? How can we improve our English listening and speaking skill? What we have to do? What activities are designed in our EFT? Look, listen and say. Look, listen and say. In our grade 1 and 2 lower primary, our every session is started with look, listen, say. Look, listen, say. Look means observe, listen means shono. Here teacher will speak and student listen and then repeat, then speak. Say means speak here. Also do it. Reading loud, memory games. We know that there are many kinds of games to developing speaking and listening skill. Dialogue practices, answering questions, for example, around pictures, reading or listening text. Open question and answer, for example, student asking each another about families. They can each They can ask each another about their family. It may be also here and we drill, chain drill, choral drill, etc. Role play, for example, acting out dialogues and plays, rhymes and songs. These are the activities based on our EFT, and we have also some possible activities: storytelling, gauging games, describing pictures. At first, we have to show a picture, and we have to uh, provide some times to think about the picture, and then we have to do some questions on the picture. What do you think the picture? And by this way, we have to describe the picture with the help of the students. Talking about the picture, exchanging personal information, introducing, here we can also add introducing with each other. One introduce himself and then ask another person to introduce himself or herself, exchanging personal information. Social talk in the classroom, for example, about holidays or festivals, any kind of topic we can add here. Interviews, we can take interview to the students, and also our students can take interviews to the other students. Debate, it is very important for speaking and listening capacity development, and for the improvement of listening and speaking skill. We can arrange a debating session in our classroom. In upper primary, audio recording, we can listen many kinds of audio, and by listening this audio we can develop our listening skills. Teacher or student talk, teacher talk the students, students talks the students, it may be also. And activity 4, administrating the listening and speaking activities in the AFT class 1 to 5. Stages of listening and speaking, we know that there are some stages of listening and speaking, and we have to find out what is the stages. For recognizing words, pre-listening skills, pre-listening or speaking or type of activities we can adapt, we can set up. Help students to gauge the meaning of unknown words using context. Pre-listening, it will be pre-listening or speaking. While listening and speaking, what type of activities? Present the words or numbers orally as the children listen. Then ask the children to reproduce the words or numbers orally as the children speaks. At first listen, then reproduce or repeat. Do some activities like listen and show or matching. It may be matching, such kind of activities while listening or speaking. Post listening and speaking, provide feedback on the strength and area of improvement. Use activities like look and say, point and say, that is provide post listening and speaking. For text presentation, pre-listening and speaking, at the stages of text presentation, when we present our text to our students, then discuss the topic or type of conversation with the learners, helping the learners to develop their vocabulary related to the topic. What vocabulary is here? At first we have to find out the vocabulary, and while listening or speaking, ask learners to read and understand the questions or fill in the blanks or true false. Tell them to listen to the text and answer the questions. Teacher will read the text aloud. Let students listen to the text again and do the task while listening if necessary. Post listening and speaking, give feedback and consolidate what they have learned. What they have learned from the topic. You have to give, if they don't learn properly, you have to give proper feedback. And assessment of the session. At the end of the session, we can assess our trainee teachers. What are the benefits of teaching listening and speaking skill in primary level? What's your idea? What are the stages in a listening and speaking classes? Already we have discussed here. There are 3 stages of listening and also 3 stages of speaking. And what type of activities we have to set up: pre-listening, post-listening, and while listening, and also pre-speaking, while speaking, post-speaking. There are some varieties of activities here. How will we implement? How will you implement this learning in your classroom or in classroom situation at your own school? When you come back to a school after completing the training, how will you implement this learning in your English classes? So this is the assessment type of question, and here is the end of the session. So thanks, dear honorable viewers. I believe all you are will stay with me. No more today. See you next tutorial. Thanks everybody.